Aircraft carriers are among the most powerful weapons ever built by human hands. They are floating cities, moving airbases, and symbols of military reach. A single carrier can sail into international waters and project power almost anywhere on Earth. No permission needed. No foreign base required. Just open ocean. That is the power of a carrier. In fact, a United States aircraft carrier enjoys a special legal status. It carries sovereign immunity, meaning it operates under U.S. law, even in international waters. That gives it a level of freedom that most other ships do not have. It can move through contested waters, send a message without firing a single shot, and remind the world that American power can arrive at any coastline. But behind all that power is something people rarely think about. People. Thousands of them, living, working, and sleeping inside a massive steel hull that never stops moving. So today, we are asking a simple but fascinating question. How many sailors and Marines can a U.S. aircraft carrier actually hold? The answer might surprise you. Let's start with the newest class in the fleet, the Gerald R. Ford class. This is the most advanced aircraft carrier in the world today. It represents decades of engineering, billions of dollars, and a completely new approach to naval aviation. The Ford class carries a crew of about 4,660 people. That number includes sailors, officers, support staff, and aviators. Roughly half of that crew is responsible for running the ship itself, keeping the reactors running, maintaining the engines, managing communications, cooking meals, handling medical care, and keeping the ship's systems alive. The other half makes up what is known as the air wing. These are the people responsible for the aircraft, fighter jets, support aircraft, helicopters, and everything needed to launch and recover them from a moving deck in the middle of the ocean. The Ford-class ship itself stretches 1,092 feet long. That is longer than 3 football fields placed end to end. And, thanks to its nuclear reactors, the ship can remain at sea for years without needing to refuel. In theory, the only real limit is food, water, spare parts, and how long the crew can endure life at sea. Now, let's go back one generation to the Nimitz class. The Nimitz class has been the backbone of American naval aviation for decades. These carriers entered service starting in the 1970s. And even today, several of them remain active. The Nimitz class carries a ship's crew of around 3,200 sailors and officers, plus an additional 2,480 personnel assigned to the air wing. That means a fully loaded Nimitz class carrier can hold close to 5,700 people, all living aboard a single ship. Like the Ford class, the Nimitz class is also 1,092 feet long, and it too runs on nuclear power, giving it the same kind of near-limitless range that defines modern American carriers. Now here is something many people assume but is actually incorrect. Most people imagine that Marines are stationed aboard aircraft carriers. After all, Marines and Navy ships have a long shared history. But the truth is, aircraft carriers today carry very few Marines, in some cases none at all. This might seem surprising, given how closely the Navy and Marine Corps have historically worked together. Because historically, Marine detachments served aboard naval vessels. Since the earliest days of the United States, Marines guarded officers, maintained discipline, and even helped operate weapons in earlier eras of naval combat, but that tradition changed in 1998. The practice of assigning Marine detachments to most naval ships was officially discontinued. As warfare evolved, the role once filled by shipboard Marines was absorbed by modern Navy security teams and specialized personnel. So, if a Nimitz-class or Ford-class carrier is sailing through the ocean today, it is almost entirely staffed by Navy sailors, officers, and aviators, not Marines. But that raises another question. If aircraft carriers are not the ones moving Marines, then what is? The answer is a very different kind of ship, the Wasp-class amphibious assault ship. At first glance, the Wasp-class looks remarkably similar to an aircraft carrier. It has a long, flat deck. It can launch and recover aircraft, including helicopters and vertical takeoff fighter jets, like certain F-35 variants, but despite the resemblance, the Wasp-class serves a very different purpose. It is smaller than a true aircraft carrier, measuring 844 feet in length, but its mission is not primarily air combat. Its mission is amphibious warfare, getting Marines from the sea onto land. A Wasp-class ship can carry a detachment of 1,687 personnel. That represents the majority of what is known as a Marine Expeditionary Unit. A full Marine Expeditionary Unit typically includes around 2,200 Marines and sailors spread across several different ships, working together as a single strike force. This means American military power at sea is not concentrated in a single type of ship. It is distributed. Aircraft carriers dominate the sky. Amphibious ships move ground forces, and together, they form a system capable of projecting power across air, sea, and land. So when people ask how many people fit on a U.S. aircraft carrier, the real answer depends on the type of ship. A Ford-class carrier holds a crew of about 4,660 people. A Nimitz-class carrier holds close to 5,700, and a Wasp-class ship carries roughly 1,700 Marines as part of a larger expeditionary force. Every one of these numbers represents more than statistics. It represents thousands of people living together, working together, eating together, and sleeping inside a floating steel city, often for months at a time, far from home. Aircraft carriers are huge, imposing, and incredibly powerful. But behind the steel, the jets, and the missiles, every single person aboard has a job, a role, a responsibility. Because in the end, it is not just steel that makes these ships powerful. It is the thousands of people who keep them running, day after day, across every ocean on Earth.